Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You ready to keep on reading? Here we go. We are now going into chapter 26, the television chocolate room. So let's go back and review here real quick. Augustus, Violet, Veruca have all disappeared. Augustus went into the chocolate river. Violet, what happened to Violet? Violet turned violet because she ate the gum. And she turned into a blueberry. They got a squeezer. And Veruca was such a spoiled brat. I want a squirrel. And she got thrown into the garbage chute. So only Charlie and Mike are left. And then they took the great glass elevator and now they're at the television chocolate room. And we know how much Mike loves TV. His name literally is Mike TV. So we'll see what happens with him. So let's kick on over here to our tale. And please read and follow along with me. The TV family, together with Charlie and Grandpa Joe, stepped out of the lift into a room so dazzlingly bright and dazzlingly white that they screwed up their eyes in pain and stopped walking. Mr. Wonka handed each of them a pair of dark glasses and said, "Put these on quick, and don't take them off in here, whatever you do. The light could blind you." As soon as Charlie had his dark glasses on, he was able to look around him in comfort. He saw a long, narrow room. The room was painted white all over. Even the floor was white, and there wasn't a speck of dust anywhere. From the ceiling, huge lamps hung down and bathed the room in a brilliant blue-white light. The room was completely bare except at the far ends. At one of these ends, there was an enormous camera on wheels, and a whole army of Oompa Loompas was clustered around it. Oiling its joints and adjusting its knobs and polishing its great glass lens. The Oompa Loompas were all dressed in the most extraordinary way. They were wearing bright red spacesuits, complete with helmets and goggles. At least they looked like spacesuits. And they were working in complete silence. Watching them, Charlie experienced a queer sense of danger. There was something dangerous about this whole business, and the Oompa Loompas knew it. There was no chattering or singing among them here, and they moved about over the huge black camera only slowly and carefully in their scarlet spacesuits. Oh, excuse me. At the other end of the room, about 50 paces away from the camera, a single Oompa Loompa, also wearing a spacesuit, was sitting at a black table gazing at the screen of a very large television set. "Here we go!" cried Mr. Wonka, hopping up and down with great excitement. "This is the testing room for my very latest and greatest invention, television chocolate." "But what is television chocolate?" asked Mike TV. "Good heavens, child, stop interrupting me," said Mr. Wonka. "It works by television. I don't like television myself. I suppose it's all right in small doses, but children never seem to be able to take it in small doses. They want to sit there all day long, staring and staring and staring at the screen." "That's me," said Mike TV. "Shut up," said Mr. TV. "Thank you," said Mr. Wonka. "I shall now tell you how this amazing television set of mine works. But first of all, do you know how ordinary television works? It is very simple. At one end, where the picture is being taken, you have a large cine camera, and you start photographing something. The photographs are split up into a million tiny little pieces, which are so small you can't even see them. And these pieces are shot out into the sky by electricity. In the sky, they go whizzing around all over the place until suddenly they hit an antenna on the roof of somebody's house. And then they go flashing down that wire that leads right into the back of the television set. And in there they get jiggled and joggled around until at last every single one of those millions of tiny pieces is fitted back into the right place, just like a jigsaw puzzle. And presto, the photograph appears on the screen." "That isn't exactly how it works," said Mike TV. I'm a little deaf in my left ear, said Mr. Wonka. You must forgive me if I don't hear everything you say. I said that isn't exactly how it works, shouted Mike TV. You're a very nice boy, Mr. Wonka said, but you talk too much. Now, then. The very first time I saw ordinary television working, I was struck by a tremendous idea. Look here, I shouted. If these people could break up a photograph into millions of pieces and send the pieces whizzing through the air and then put them together again on the other end, why can't I do the same thing with a bar of chocolate? Why can't I send a real bar of chocolate whizzing through the air in tiny pieces and then put the pieces together at the other end, all ready to be eaten? Impossible, said Mike TV. You think so? Cried Mr. Wonka. Well, watch this. I shall now send a bar of my very best chocolate from one end of this room to the other by television. Get ready there. Bring in the chocolate. Immediately, 6 Oompa Loompas marched forward, carrying on their shoulders the most enormous bar of chocolate Charlie had ever seen. It was about the size of a mattress he slept on at home. It has to be big, Mr. Wonka explained, because whenever you send something by television, it always comes out much smaller than it was when it went in. Even with ordinary television, when you photograph a big man, he never comes out on your screen any taller than a pencil, does he? Here we go then. Get ready. No. Stop. Hold everything. You there, Mike TV, stand back. You're too close to the camera. There are dangerous rays coming out of that thing. They could break you into a million tiny pieces in 1 second. That's why the Oompa Loompas are wearing spacesuits. The suits protect them. All right, that's better. Now then, switch on. One of the Oompa Loompas caught hold of a large switch and pulled it down. There was a blinding flash. The chocolate's gone, shouted Grandpa Joe, waving his arms. He was quite right. The whole enormous bar of chocolate had disappeared completely into thin air. It's on its way, cried Mr. Wonka. It is now rushing through the air above our heads in a million tiny pieces. Quick, come over here. He dashed over to the other end of the room where the large television set was standing, and the others followed him. Watch the screen, he cried. Here it comes. Look. The screen flickered and lit up. Then suddenly, a small bar of chocolate appeared in the middle of the screen. Take it, shouted Mr. Wonka, growing more and more excited. How can you take it? Asked Mike TV. It's just a picture on a television screen. Charlie Bucket, he cried. You take it. Reach out and grab it. Charlie put his hand out and touched the screen, and suddenly, miraculously, the bar of chocolate came away in his fingers. He was so surprised he nearly dropped it. Eat it! Shouted Mr. Wonka. Go on and eat it. It'll be delicious. It's the same bar. It got smaller on the journey, that's all. It's absolutely fantastic, gasped Grandpa Joe. It's a miracle. Just imagine, cried Mr. Wonka. When I start using this across the country, you'll be sitting at home watching television, and suddenly a commercial will flash on the screen, and a voice will say, Eat Wonka's chocolates. They're the very best in the world. If you don't believe us, try one for yourself. Now. And you simply reach out and take one. How about that, eh? Terrific, cried Grandpa Joe. It'll change the world. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk real quick. So dazzlingly, it's something so bright but good in a good way. It's beautiful. It's like, wow, that's amazing. Sometimes we describe people's smiles as dazzling because they're so white. They got beautiful white teeth. Dazzling. Let's see here. Bathed. There was so much light, it was like they were bathed. And so we know the word bath. Okay, take a bath where you get the water and the soap. But the light is so much, it's like you're being bathed in the light. just like you are bathed in water. Knobs are little twisty things, and so there's all these knobs all over, and all the Oompa Loompas are adjusting the knobs. Now, we get a little of the explanation. Why do you think they're described as wearing spacesuits, wearing bright red spacesuits, complete with helmets and goggles? Well, Charlie tells us. He says, if I can find it here real quick. Yes, right here. Watching the Oompa Loompas dressed in the spacesuits, Charlie experienced a queer sense of danger. And in this sense, queer here means strange or funny or odd. Charlie experienced an odd sense of danger. There was something dangerous about the whole business of what they were doing. So they're wearing the spacesuits because, I don't know, something is dangerous here. Okay, and then there are hopping about, hop, 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 hop. All right, photographing is a verb. Photographs becomes the plural noun, and photograph would be the singular noun. So what I want you to pay attention to here is that when we take a photograph, a singular photograph, when you see this word again, you might see it in slightly different ways. So you might see a plural, which means more than one, photographs, or you might see that someone is photographing, and the ing makes it the action where you're doing something. I have a photograph. I am photographing something. Okay, jigsaw puzzle. Here's a jigsaw puzzle. It's all the tiny little pieces that get put together. And then a blinding flash. So bright. Can't see. And here's the amazing thing. Wonka sends his chocolate bar through the air. I wish we could just reach out and grab the chocolate. Oh well, that's why we read books, because we can have fun imaginations of things that aren't real. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. End of the day. My tongue is tired. Have a good day. Bye.